Hi guys, welcome back to the Time Bomb channel, of course with your host the Bombardier, and today we're heading back to Asia for the watch content. And what we have for you today is the Pagani Design flight chronograph, and that's a reference PD-2720K. So little background then on Pagani Design. So they started up back in 2012. They're based in Guangzhou in southern China, and from looking at their logo just here on the box, I'd bet a fair amount of money that the owner of Pagani drives a Porsche. However, Pagani sort of seemed to be attracting a lot of attention, specifically sort of like around watch reviews, etc. And I think that's primarily due to their homage versions or copies of lots of quite famous watches. You've got Rolexes, tags, etc., etc. All you need to do really is to jump on the tube here to check the view counts for watch reviews of this brand to see the level of interest. Added to that, there seems to be recently like a glut of reviews on YouTube, where basically the main content of the video is, here's a really, really cheap watch. Wow, it's amazing. And that basically equals 100,000 view clickbait. So it kind of sparked my curiosity. However, I didn't want to get one of their Submariner clones, so I opted for this chrono instead, as I felt it perhaps had a little bit more identity, or a little bit more of its own identity, should I say. And yep, I got this one from AliExpress. I picked it up in their 11/11 sale. It cost me £35, and it arrived here into the UK within about 10 days. Just show you the stuff that you get inside: warranty card, cloth, cardboard box. Yeah, nothing else to tell you about that one. I'm running out of space over here. So yeah, so basically there's the watch. As I say, I paid £35 for it in that sale. The retail price is supposed to be £79, I can see there, or the dollar equivalent. But looking again today, they're currently in their Black Friday sale at £37. And I'll pop a shot up that I took of this, or a screenshot of their site from today, and you can see that all of their watches are on sale at present with some quite big discounts. So I clearly doubt that the people that are buying Pagani Designs are buying them at their full price, which in turn raises a question: why are you paying full price, or why would you pay full price for these things? And who is paying full price for these things? Answers down below, please. There's a question I'm not able to answer. So not only that, the cost of the watch actually also then included postage from China to the UK. And I took a quick shot of the packing label here because it shows that they've marked the value of the watch down at 10 Hong Kong dollars, which is about £1 UK. I'm kind of happy about that. It means that I totally avoided any import taxes, which normally cripples us here in the UK if we're specifically buying from say the States. So enough rapping. Let's get on with the watch itself. So these chronos are essentially available in better focus. There we go. So they're available in this what's called silver white. Then there's the rose. Then there's the rose black, and then the black. They also do come on a bracelet, as you'll see here. But personally, I felt for the price of the watch that the quality of the bracelet wouldn't really be worth it. Hence, as you can see, I opted for the leather version. If you've got the bracelet version of this one, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on it, whether it actually works or it sort of measures up or balances out with the watch itself. The leather here, I think, is exactly as you would expect for that price. It says that it's genuine. It doesn't actually feel that bad. Personally, I think you could easily swap that out and upgrade the watch with, I don't know, like maybe like a vintage strap. You could also maybe put it on some other kind of, like a mesh or something like that. It would look quite attractive, I think. But yeah, I change most straps out on all of my watches anyway, so that's not really a reference point. So the specs of the watch just then briefly. So side to side with the diameter, we're looking at 43 mils. The thickness is actually 13 mil, so it's not that thin. It's not by no means a specifically a low profile watch. Lug to lug, you've got 22. Personally, I prefer the 22 quite a lot. The 20 seem to be a little bit slim, but anyway, either option, you've got a lot of strap options to change it. Lug to lug, you're looking here at 48 mils, if I'm not mistaken. And then on the side, I can't see, still got the blue sticker on it. But yeah, we've basically got a sort of signed crown. That crystal on the top, they claim is Hardlex, but I'm going to... not sure if it's really Hardlex or whether it's more like a hardened mineral crystal. It does only have 30 meters water resistance, so yeah, make sure you take it off when you do the washing up. I'm going to pop up a loom shot here, but basically what you have is only loom on the two hands. They're quite fine hour minute hands, so again, loom is by no means Seiko or sort of citizen standard. But at the same time, I wasn't actually able to find out from their website what kind of loom they're actually using. Again, it might just sort of be their own version of it. The weight is around 160 grams, so it does actually have quite a bit of heft. Not say quite as much as the Orient Bambino that I'm comparing it to here, whereas obviously it's on the mesh strap, so that's going to add to it quite a lot. So yeah, dumb comparison. Let's move on rather quickly. Basically again, so as you'd expect, you've got 316 stainless steel. The overall case design, I think, is quite smooth. It's simple. It's clean. The lines are very good. And the finishing is also very good, and the camera is really not wanting to pick up the watch, picking up everything else on the table. There we go. And it's still doing it. Come on, Mr. Camera, thank you. Right. Anyway, I was talking about the crystal. Yeah, I kind of like actually the way that it sits up sort of quite proud on the top there. And a little bit of a dome to it. Yeah, really quite nice. Like that. Backside, yeah, nothing especially on there, just some sort of reference about the watch itself. Yeah, it's a very simple case back. As you can see, you've got those four little screw pins in there also. Yeah, simple stuff. Yeah, it's low maintenance and yeah, fit for purpose, very fit for purpose. Thinking back though, and when I was looking at the watch when it arrived, it's actually the first chrono that I've owned in quite a few years. I usually put chronos in the same category as open heart watches. For me, essentially, they just feel like a little bit of a visual gimmick or a fidget thingy, something to do when you're bored. I mean, does anyone actually really use chronos for timing things? I don't know, not on necessarily on a watch like this, but anyway, that segues nicely as to what's actually ticking inside this watch. Inside, you've got a Seiko VK67 Mecha Quartz, or possibly even a version of that VK67. And what that translates into is that you've got quartz for the main functions of the watch, and then the chrono itself is mechanical. Operationally, you can see how that works. So top button here, your 2 o'clock button essentially activates that chrono. It's quite a clunky click. Listen, yeah. So your second hand then starts ticking along in its sort of half-second steps. Obviously, that'll then activate your hours and minute counters on the other dials. And then pressing the button at number 4, of course, again with that resounding click. It stops it, press it again. Oops, I did it already. And start it off again. and press it. So press it, and it. So yeah, okay. So concentrate. So press it and stop it, and then the 4 o'clock pops it straight back to 12 o'clock. Quite a fun little function. Kind of nice to see that you get that duality on this watch. My only reservation with that sort of fun aspect of it is I think it's probably going to drain the battery quite a lot if you're sitting there fiddling with it, etc., etc. Looking closer at the dial, you can see that those 3 sub-dials are slightly recessed, which is a very nice touch. And for those sticklers amongst you, you will see actually that the second hand that's ticking around there on that bottom dial is not aligned. My camera might not focus that accurately. There we go. Yeah, you can pretty much see that. You then also on the dial, for me, you've got kind of a curious positioning of the calendar marker there, the date marker. It's kind of like at the 5 past, 10 past 4. And the only justification I can see for putting it there as opposed to the traditional 4 o'clock is that it would then interfere with your design and script, which would then be pushed up and be distorted, etc. So yeah, making space for things on the dial. The colour, whilst it suggests that it's a silver white, actually in real life it's much closer to a champagne for me. But that's actually really nice because it's got a little bit more warmth to it than perhaps just a straight silver white. As a fan of chunky watches that can take a hit, I'm not necessarily sure about the durability of this particular watch. I haven't really had it long enough yet to really test it, but clearly it's not a beater. It's more of a sort of a casual, smart cash type thing. I'm just going to pop it on wrist so that you can see what it looks like. It's quite big at its size. I would suggest that on a 6-inch wrist, this may actually start looking a little bit oversized. My wrist is 7 and a quarter. So yeah, if you're down to a 6-inch wrist, sorry, but you might want to perhaps consider the Bambino or the smaller version of the Bambino for that kind of a watch. So, in conclusion, I bought this watch on a whim as I was sort of simply browsing the sale on AliExpress. I never actually bought anything from them before. I felt for the price that the risk was actually worth it. I think, to be fair, paying £35 for this watch, which includes your postage, that's around $47 US. I think you're getting quite an attractive casual watch, and it's impressed me more than I expected. I'm not generally a fan of fashion watches, and I'm not typically a fan of homage watches, but my take on this one is that the dial design, I think, is a slight step up or step above some of the other watches that you're going to find in a similar category. And I think for that, Pagani Designs, they're going to be with us for a couple of years. As I say, you only need to look at the viewing stats here on the tube to realise that that's the case. So, final words as to whether or not you should save up your cash and buy another brand, that's more expensive. I'll leave that decision up to you, but it'd be interesting to hear from you whether Pagani have convinced you to part with your hard-earned cash to buy one of their watches. Anyway, guys, thanks as always for watching. Much appreciated. More content coming soon. And until the next time, this is your host, the Bombardier, signing off. Cheers.